Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ravinia Festival. Please note that the taking of photographs, including the use of camera phones and the use of audio or video equipment, is strictly prohibited. As a courtesy to the artist and your fellow patrons, please ensure that all mobile phones, pagers, and anything with an on-off switch have been silenced. We appreciate your consideration. Thank you for making it a great day at Ravinia.
Good afternoon and welcome. It's so nice to see so many of you here. This is the first of our master classes this summer, and there will be, of course, the concerts, and I hope that we will see you in as many of them as you can attend. It's always wonderful to have an audience. Gives me great pleasure to introduce Gary Hoffman, who actually doesn't need an introduction. Great cellist, wonderful teacher, and a wonderful colleague and friend as well. So without further ado, Gary Hoffman and our wonderful cellists.
First of all, beautiful playing. I just want you to know that one of the pleasures in life is coming here and working with people like this. Yeah. I don't have any general comments to make. I think we should just use the time and look at some things. Sometimes we don't know, however, on stage what it really sounds like. This is something that came up earlier with Hannah, who's playing later. And we spent a little time, and I didn't get to hear you here before. Just, Solomon, be careful. Out there, the left hand needs to be a little bit clearer than that. All the interplay between it doesn't sound as forward and present as I think it needs to be. It may seem to you here, but out there it doesn't. But these are things we don't always know on stage. That's why it's always good to have an opportunity to get a little feedback from somebody that you can trust. I hope you can trust me. Please say you do. Okay, let's start from the beginning. I would say, curiously enough, Aaron, given that he continues the main voice, even when you come in with the F sharp, and you play with such a beautiful sound, but I still should be listening to him in a way more as the principal voice. So I think, curiously enough, we always think that we need to do something there. I think the register itself gives, let's say, the presence that's needed. Let's see. I mean, but I would say, in any case, you don't want to do anything that takes away from the attention there. You're a supporting voice still at that point. Let's try from the beginning. Solomon, I'd like to say one thing. Whatever you do with the 16ths, I think it should be evident from the beginning that we're talking about larger groupings in terms of quarter beats. I'm a little bit overly, let's say, drawn to da-dee, da-dee. If there's a way for you to play those 16ths, that you give me the group and the sense of what the overall pulse is, even from the outset. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. But I think you can still sing the right hand though. So I think obviously if we're going to talk about the difference between the first and second beat, you know, the general rule is the second beat is the weaker of the two. But there's still the profile of the theme. I think that should come through. Right now I feel a little bit like you're sort of, let's say, shying away from the second beat. We need to hear that rise to the, you know, okay? Yeah, Aaron, just be careful. Beautiful. But it's kind of like, okay, does that fine? Now I'm going to play the way I want to play. So you did nice, juicy A, you know. I think maybe keep that throughout, you know. Try to establish it that at this moment is what the hierarchy is. Okay? Let's start from the beginning once more, okay? You can still vibrate if you like. I know, you're thinking, like, so just make up your mind, right? No. It's not about vibrating or not. It's about, obviously, what type of vibrato and what it should be saying. It's just that before you did that, it was beautiful, and then you went to the, oh, and it was nice, you know, juicy vibrato, which is fine, but I think it still needs to keep that sense of this is, at this moment, a secondary voice, and it's sort of giving plenty of space to the piano. Yeah. Let's try that. Okay, Aaron? I know I'm getting picky here, but obviously all these things depend on little details and small factors. because of the bow speed that you're using now, which is rather on the slower side, it gives a kind of sort of sadder, more depressed outlook as to what that is. And I don't think that's in this music here, right? It's free, it's open, it's not big, but it's not burdened, right? It's open. Let's try that one more time. Serenity. Okay, beautiful. Now, that's a possible fingering. Have you ever tried anything else? Let's see. Let's do from the B. Okay, let me add just a little something there. But starting on the A string. But another fingering. Yeah, that's it. And then what you do after that, that's what I'm interested in. Of course. You know what I'm getting at. Let's see.
So just from A.
That's fine. I would have thought there's something about this back and forth business. It doesn't, for me, playing it, doesn't quite give. Yeah, I think so.
Actually, I'm supposed to be up
Okay, yeah. Just a thought, Aaron. The old-fashioned fingering. Please do it for me. And you'll also be doing it for Paul and Miriam and Kim and all of us. And then after that, you don't have to do it. You know, you just try. No. 3/3. Yes, sir. Yes. And yeah, up on the D string.
Okay.
Yeah. How about 1/1?
Sorry, yeah.
No sorries.
Just right on the thing.
Okay, one more time, then we go on, and now play it like you own that fingering. No, but you will. You will, and you'll thank me for it too. Let's start at the F sharp. Beautiful. You did your version of it, which is also possible. But the point is, I think, coloristically speaking, there's something more, let's say, dreamlike and sort of suggestive about this than sort of out in the open. But, you know, there's never one way. And you did both beautifully, so you'll see yourself. Here. You're starting a sequence. When you play that A, can something special happen to give me the sense that we're going in another direction? Do you know what I mean? That one. That A. No.
Yes.
But we need to back up a little. Can you do
I'll do it this time.
That's fine.
11.
That was one way. I would have thought something more intimate and more the sense that you don't know what it is yet. Not something definite.
Okay.
Like you're just starting to find where this music is going. I mean, this is not a slow movement, right? He wrote 5 sonatas for us, and he wrote 1 slow movement. That's in the 5th sonata, right? This is not a slow movement, it's an introduction. So it has an introductory quality in the sense that it's searching for something, right? And we talked earlier about the transition. You know, the question about the transition. I think in a certain sense, it's already happening here. You know, this is not a statement of something, it's a transition to something. Yeah. Okay, let's do that again, and then we'll go on. Aaron, my question is that D, should it be in movement, in sound? I'm not sure why it expands there. Is it the long D? Is that a desire of yours for it to move inside it?
Just trying to follow his chromatic.
I just feel like the integrity of your line is more important than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think his harmonic changes as a listener, it gives us what we need. I'm not sure you should reflect that. Let's see what you think yourself. Let's do ta-da-dee-da-dum, ta-da-dee-da-dum. He wrote the crescendo for you. You don't need to make it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? The B sharp serves that function. By the way you played the D, beautiful. It was pure, had class. That's more to my liking. And I didn't miss anything because he provided it. But there was a purity about it. And in fact, your line changes after that. I think that's important. Can we do from the D and then go on? And I think you played the B sharp as it should be played, but you still felt you needed to lead it into the C sharp. I think he did that for you already. Do you know what I mean? It's written in. That's from the D, that famous D. I was just beating time. I wasn't stopping you. That's super. Dee-da-da. They pay much too much attention to what I say. Dee-da-da.
I'm here to serve.
Yeah. I think we're being too nice to each other here. So they know what the real lessons are like, you know, with the yelling and screaming and, you know. Dee-da-da.
Right on it.
Yeah, or before if you like. It's whatever you prefer.
Just right.
Now, I think, Aaron, the D string is a possible fingering. The trouble is, and it's especially clear when you're out there, it loses distinction and clarity, which, of course, is not the reason why you do it. It's some type of, not coloristic idea, but I mean the way to develop the theme throughout, go to the A string. I get that. But we still need rhythm there. And I think if we lose that, we lose something that's too important. But I think D string is possible. But then it means you have to really articulate with the left hand and be very sure about how you deal with the bow in terms of the articulation of the short notes. So that still has a distinction. Mm-hmm. You know, the D string is a choice for you, but we still need that. Let's start at Dee-da-dum. Just to be careful that you want to launch his scale, but you know, because of the open A, which is perfectly fine, just to remember that it already has a very sort of bold quality about it. It sounds a little bit interruptive. It should actually serve to give flight to his scale. Can we do from the second part of the theme where you reiterate? Yes, sorry, I'm doing this. Bass line. Yeah. Salma, let's look at your theme. Let's look at your theme. Okay, so you're in a different register than we were, and he's got a low A. So maybe you should actually take flight. You're going into space. His version was, I don't know what animal's playing that, but on the ground. You're a bird in the air. Okay? We need the A. Yeah, now, could we group that? Yeah, we just need more presence in the A because that helps to give the sense that he's flying and there's the sense of, you know, the earth still here. Maybe you can group that not in a square way, but in terms of the pitch relationships. I think that, you know what I mean. Let's do from the A. But they're separate notes. You're playing them a little bit like, you know they're separate, but it's a separate bowing. But I think what Beethoven, in my opinion, what Beethoven means by that is these are separate impulses, yeah. You know? And that sounds a little too close to legato. Okay. Yeah. Now, in the next section, when you play ya-ta-ta-ta-ta, we always want to sort of finish in a more, let's say, rounded way because we don't like to play ta-ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. That seems too unfinished, so we do ta-ta-tam, ta-tam. And what that does is it obscures the conversational aspect. So I think, Solomon, you can be very clear. Ya-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And then, Aaron, don't linger into his part of the conversation, okay? Where can we start? Dee-dum, where the cello has that, and the scales, right? Dum diddle dum. Solomon? Sounds nice, but it sounds a little bit like you're tickling. You know? It's Beethoven. I don't know if Beethoven likes to be tickled. You know what I mean? He's like me, tough guy. Yes. Good. So it really has a sense of the bar, in spite of the fact that it could be, but I don't think we should hear that. I hear a little bit of that. Up or down. There's a little bit of an extra impulse in the middle of the figure. I hear which means another way of saying it is make sure the E is enough, has enough in it so the D sharp can come out of it. I'll shut up, because every time I do something, you stop. It's all right. He's like the lead singer and you're the choir. You know, it's not accompanimental. It's sort of call and response. You know? I still think in the end down bow's better, but anyway. Okay, let's do that one more time. Down bow. This is different. Yeah, I think Aaron, the decoration shouldn't obscure the basic rhythm we're talking about. So I would think the decoration should come later, so we hear. I hear now. 4/16 to ace. And I think it's close to that, but the first note needs to be long enough so we understand the rhythm. Can we do the third? Yes. Tempo. Yeah. Aaron, try not to lose his left hand. Can you do the scales? Or the three notes before, whatever you like. Dum bum. Yeah. I do the same thing. I get to the third beat too early, so do you. You have to think of the inner beats that we don't necessarily pay attention to. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? So try to subdivide it in your mind. Don't accent it with the bow, but subdivide it in your mind. This movement is obviously in 2, but it's an alla breve. It's not 2/2. It's 4/4 alla breve. So there is some presence of the quarter, right? It's not completely in 2. It's not. So we shouldn't lose the chord. That's why I asked you to think about his left hand. Okay? Let's try that. Yeah. Beautiful. Left hand. Left. Same thing with the decoration. La da da da, da da da. Otherwise, say da 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 da. It sounds like 4/16. And I think in our mind we can think threes. I would suggest the next thing on the D string.
Just the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes sense to start from there and then go back up to the A string. Let's skip to because I know we have almost no time now. Yes, the minor. Okay? You can feel the quarters, but he writes the slur, so I think we have to feel this overlying pulse for the bar. Let's try there. Then it divides. Yeah, Aaron, you can be more insistent on the fact that he divides the bar. Okay? I just yelled at it. I didn't mean to. It's impossible. Yeah, that's good. 81? 81. Can you be more threatening with the bass? Yum, bum, bum. As if it's a kind of signal that something's going to happen. Aaron? Yeah, I think you can actually make a little bit more of that yum bum 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 bum, more rambunctious.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do yum la la la. Yes. Yes.
80, 89.
The chord. Yeah. I'm not sure about ta ya ta 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 ta. I'm not sure about that. Ta ya ta 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 ta. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound completely kosher to me. Yum ta 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 tum. Yum ta 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 tum. You know. Otherwise, it sounds a little mannered. Ta ta ya ta 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 ta. Yeah. Half bars. Two, three, four. Good, great. Yeah, I did that just because that's what we need to hear. That exchange. Can we just do the ending? My favorite part of the whole piece. I think we need to feel this. This is you, this is you, this is you, and then you give it to him. Yeah. But and then the greatest solo in the literature, right there. Let's do this. So this is bar 80, 184. He's thematic, and then you take it over. Da 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 ti da 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 di da 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 la pa bi da pa. Okay, just so we know that we hear that. Let's do all that again. You look concerned. That music is not concerned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This music is reaching to the stars. Okay? Can we do bar 193. And tari. You can play it absolutely in tempo, Solomon. All I'm saying is, and I think Mr. Beethoven too, you don't have to. But then do what you want, okay? And Aaron, I personally would stay on the G string because it's more touching there. Same with grouping. Okay, one more time.
Sorry.
In my opinion, the difference in dynamic is minimal, but the timing will help. Like you just added instruments. You have to give a cue, they're going to come in, it's got to be together. You know what I mean? La 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 la. Beethoven writes a slur over the whole thing. I'm thinking we should not bring out not on the bar line, somewhere else, just so that we hear the succession of pitches. We're not going to lose. We're not. What we might lose is. That's what we, in terms of bowing, I never really think where I'm going to change the bow. I just change it when I'm there. You know what I mean? Because I'm not thinking of any particular grouping, just not give the 4 every time. Let's do fortissimo. And try to keep it powerful even on the D string. Yes, and Aaron, not that I'm into visual things, as you know I'm not, but this needs to smile. Do you know what I mean? In terms of what we do here, if we think, dee-da, that can't possibly give the sound that we're looking for and the expression. I would just like to make, what we're talking about is something that you hear, not something that you see. That's important here. So just so you know, you heard the difference. And that's not because of the face he made for you, it's because of the face he made for him. But he didn't make a face. He's thinking something else. That's what came out. So that's important to say. You know what I mean? Beautiful playing. Bravo, both of you. You remember we were talking about something earlier today, Hannah? Just about this space. It reminded me of something that's happened to me many times. It can be with people you're playing with, it could be a conductor or whatever, and somebody turns to you and says, "What is the tempo?" And if I answer that honestly, you're ready to go out on stage, somebody says, "So what's your tempo?" If I'm going to answer that honestly, the real answer to that question is, I don't know. And that usually is met with a lot of disapproval, because we're supposed to know what tempo we're going to play. And I don't know the tempo. Now, why would that be? Because until I start playing, I don't know what the tempo is. Do you know what I mean? It's always going to be related to the circumstances. Generally speaking, yeah, you have an idea of the tempo, but what it specifically is, the speed at which it will unfold, depends on so many factors. I'm not going to say that I think it was too fast, but I felt it was too fast for you to do the things that you need to do with this. But this kind of thing is usually not just about an absolute tempo. It's about the space that you see within a tempo. So, for example, we've talked about this already. The way you play the tied over eighth note and the next two eighth notes. Of course, one could be absolutely metronomic about it, but in fact, given this flurry of notes in the piano, it doesn't really have to line up specifically, right? It could be there's a real difference there, but if you're going to measure it, it's minute. If you can actually scientifically explain the difference, it's very, very minute. But what it gives is quite different. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And I kept feeling that you have more space than you may imagine at the moment. And that you have to deal with the fact that in this space, everything needs more breath. This is big music. And we think of Mendelssohn, charming music and very brilliant. And this is a symphonic piece. This is a lot like the Italian Symphony and other pieces. It's a big piece. It's on a big scale. These are big ideas. They take time to develop. This is anything but a miniature piece. After that, the second movement's something else. The third we know. But this, it has scope to it. That's what I missed. We were talking about that earlier. It's not specifically about amount of sound. That may or may not be the case, but that's, I don't think, what we're talking about here. So, I'm wondering if we should try something. I'd like you to just try the opening alone and try to get everything to have its necessary place and character. Just without Xiaohui, but I just want to hear what that is and how you react to that. Maybe how do you begin that opening gesture? Like something that sets off this, throw the ball, and then there's a rebound. That's what I miss. That initial impulse that gives the motion for this music. I mean, you could say it comes from her, but it as much comes from you, I think. Remember, we talked about this. It appears that it's a rhythmic theme, but I think when you listen to it out there, you realize it's not. It's a lyrical theme. It has a rhythmic element to it, but it's a lyrical theme. She has the rhythm. You have the theme. It's just written with those rhythmic ideas and groupings and so forth. But actually what it is it's a very long theme. That I think we need to feel from the outset, and then, all the places where it could break, don't let it break. Okay? A little under tempo. So it's not a small theme, so maybe give a big preparation. A full half bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maximize what those A's can be. And it's forte. Good. And to really sing those notes, even the smaller ones. Yeah. The shape, fine, but if you drop the E, then you have to restart the phrase. The shape, yes, da-da-da-da-dum-ti-da, but not shape to the point where you've now made a phrase out of those measures, and now you have to start a new one. Okay, let's do that with Xiaohui. Okay? Let's say you had a great tempo. Let's try this tempo. Okay. Now I'm missing the vivace. Okay, is that just tempo? Okay. In fact, it's not tempo. Yeah, so you have this E, and there's no rest, right? So just think beyond that. Think always where it's going. You're climbing a mountain. You have to keep reaching farther in this phrase. From the A? That was great. T-da-da-da-da from the A, please. Yeah. Hannah, you can play A harmonic. I love harmonics, but you have to play it like you mean it. Don't throw it away. But yeah, mean it with the bow. Give it expression with the bow. T-da-da-da-da. A harmonic is a choice. It's not good or bad. It's all dependent on how you do it. But right now it sounds like you're playing da, da, ti, da, 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 da. That has to do with the bow, of course. Yeah, it's a lyrical aspect of the theme. Ti, da, 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 da. Could you just play it yourself? Okay, if I ask you to vibrate it, then what does that sound like? No, solid and vibrato. And so, it needs to have the accent? Is there an accent? Yeah, but sforzando is not an accent. It's it's some type of impulse, okay? If you make an accent, a sharp accent, it only serves to sectionalize the whole thing. And the sforzando doesn't have to apply only to the attack of the note. You could consider that it's an impulse even on the bar. I mean, it's not specifically written, and it's also not written. It's possible that is an impulse, a longer impulse. Great, let's go from the beginning again. Well, I think Hannah is great, but the first note's not forte, right? Okay, good. You see your friends all the way up in the top row there? They're waving to you? Play for them. The ones up there. Okay? In fact, you know the opening. Just look at them. You're not looking at them. Yes, why are you hitting those notes? Oh, because sforzando means hit it. Okay, good. I don't have that dictionary, but okay, you know what I mean? We see these things. Of course, I see them and you see them, but the question is, what could they mean? We don't know what they do mean. What could they mean? And when you hear it, if you hear da 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 da, you know yourself it's not that. Imagine something else. We have to get past this visual aspect of what we see in the music. And you know that, of course. But I mean, that's what one of the things we're doing here is to try to figure out what these things are. But nobody knows for sure what they are. We all see the same thing. The question is, what could they mean? And that, in the end, is an open discussion, you know. And I think for that, ti da 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 ti da 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 ti. Who's to say that's not sforzando? It is. How else are you going to write that? You know, the markings are few. The expressions are limitless. So how can you just decide? I'm not saying you do, but how can you just decide that an accent is this, a sforzando is that, and a fortepiano is that? How can we possibly do that? When I don't know how many expressions are possible, but I don't think we've actually heard or played them all yet in the history of humankind. So, okay? So we have to think beyond that, you know? And in that respect, it just means go with your instinct. You know what I mean. You know, let yourself do it, but just don't forget your friends up there. And by the way, when you did that, I know it caused a little bit of humor and all that, but it wasn't for that purpose. Did you hear the difference? Yeah, well, that's not an accident. It's a way of opening your body and utilizing the power you have, and also, in fact, having a sense of where this is going. You're not playing for them. It was just a way of trying to open yourself up more. That makes a big difference, okay? Let's go from the A, T, and then we'll go on, okay? Would you like to start at the beginning again? Sure. Would that be better? Okay. Let's go from the G. From the G. With Xiaohui. Yeah. Wouldn't you think after the G, T, that the next notes should come naturally from the G instead of D? So I would think that means more bow on those notes after. Give them more importance following the G. You have plenty of time to come down. Okay? Let's do from the G. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Even at this distance, I don't hear those repeated A's. Let's do from the piano thing. In the cello. Anna, it's really good, but I'm not sure near the fingerboard is going to give you what you need. Okay. You have to play trombone here. So if you hit the string, it won't respond immediately. If you want it to respond, draw the sound there. Yes. But not at the fingerboard. Yeah. Now can you coordinate that with the vibrato? I know, we've already talked about that. I know you want to do this, and you want to do this, but I think we know that's not what we actually should be doing. It's deeper than that. Try to go into the string right away, and as far as the left hand, not to create a vertical motion. Give something that goes along with what you want to do with the bow, which means this right away, not this. Okay? Play a beautiful bass line. Vibrate. Let's start down bow on the D. Good. Let's make a melody out of that now. Okay, let's do that with Xiaohui now, okay? if you want to get more vibrancy on the high D, maybe let the E go. It's okay. It needs something there, and I know you know that. Let it go. That's without Xiaohui, just to please. And then go on. How about ya-ta-ta-tam, ta-da, and keep the bow on the string where it is and don't lift it, because that just takes extra time and we lose control. Tom, ta-da-da-dum. Yeah, just on the string and then up to the A string. Yeah, and the next line, maybe vibrate it so it has a melodic quality. Ta-da-la-da-la-da-la-dum, okay? Like the Italian symphony. Okay? Let's do that whole thing from the chord. Do you know where that is, Xiaohui? The G, E, D chord. If you think about what's in the piano, there isn't that much important in the piano. That's you. I think singing. This is all singing. Okay. Let's do ta da la da la da la da. When you play ta ta ti da da dum pa 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 da da dee, really establish the beginning. Pa 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 pi da da. Maybe down bow. Ta ta ti da da di da da di da da dum pom 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 la da 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 di da da dum. Yeah, I'm not sure about the fingerboard here. Yeah, we need body in the sound. You always want to go back there, but try to stay there. Yeah. There. Every time you lift your bow, you come back. That's all I'm saying. Let's just. You know the Schumann concerto, right? Second page starts on the low D, right? Could you play the low D? Forte piano after big tutti. Forte piano, espressivo. No, not hit, espressivo. And try to coordinate vibrato and bow. But don't hit, draw. Both arms to produce complementary actions, okay? So it's a deeper effect. It's a deeper stroke than that, with both arms. Getting there, you're getting there. Yes, yes. Now, ya-da-da-da-da. Ta-da-da-da-da-dee. Sing with the left hand. Ta-da-da-da-da-dee. Ta-ta-ti-da-da. So the short notes, they're not rhythms. They're melodic notes. Ta-ta-ti-da-da-dee. Pom-pom-pee. How about not lifting the bow? That. Vibrate. We're back to the lifting of the bow, yeah. Yeah, melodic, singing, on the string. Yes, okay, let's go from there. sforzando, but is it a hard sforzando? It's more of an espresso, yeah. Okay, it's true. There's a tendency to be vertical about all these things. So, okay, let's leave that, okay? Let's go on to the transition into the cello thing. Yeah, good. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. Okay, so is that two phrases or one phrase or part of one phrase, or what did those bars you just played, what is that? I would even say it's not even one phrase because the phrase hasn't stopped yet. It keeps going on. So try not to divide it just because there's a repeated number of bars. But okay, let's do ta-da-dum. I want to say something that's probably going to be radical for a lot of people, but I'm wondering, if this was Mendelssohn Cello Concerto, how would you play this? The same way? Really, it's just a serious question. Maybe it would be the same? Okay, well, you got a whole orchestra behind you now. She's the orchestra. I just feel a little bit like it's coming back to this. You had that for a moment. Maybe that's because you were inspired by your friends. If so, then, but I feel like you need to sort of expand what you do, and all of the small actions, the short notes and all those things, they have to become part of a larger picture. This is one of those pieces, it's not on a small canvas, it's a big canvas. The details are there, but there's a big picture here, you know? And, you know, I just try to open yourself to that, okay? Let's do something towards the end, okay? And all of this, tom, rom, rom. Just don't worry about staying in tempo. It's the gesture that counts here. Da, 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 da. Let's do from here. 4/4. Yeah. It's towards the end. Let's do from the repeated G's. Okay? Let's do those 4 measures of piano. And Xiaohui, you can really let the tempo subside and let it come back. It's a very long progression to the end. So the 4 measures, piano. So it starts piano and then diminuendo, right? So piano meaning more. Could you play that for me? Dum, jum, jum. That's Mendelssohn Chamber Concerto. Let's do Mendelssohn Concerto for Cello and Symphonic Orchestra. Double Symphonic Orchestra. It's not about amount of sound, it's about the scope of what you do. Longer strokes, bigger strokes, and larger idea. Let's do that with Xiaohui right there, okay? Oh, I didn't say anything. I was just listening. I just want to say, Hannah, I just want to make sure that you don't misunderstand what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about playing harder into the instrument. I'm talking about expanding everything you do. Jiam, jiam, pom. Let's do that. Just without Xiaohui. Wam, jiam, jiam. That way. Yeah, the chords. Yam. The low D. The low D. Yes. Yeah, so sostenuto, sostenuto, sostenuto. Yeah, and lead one into the other. Yeah, so ta, piam, tiam. That. A little faster. Let's do that with Xiaohui now, okay? Don't be influenced by her in terms of, I have to catch up with the tempo. She will work that out for you. I'm sure of it. Okay, great. And can you vibrate those chords? Meaning the one with the open A still vibrated. If it's this, let's make it this. Loose tempo, la 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 la. Okay, we know that one. Let's go for the real fingering. The last phrase. The last phrase. Yeah. You know, sometimes, Hannah, risks are worth taking. Okay? And I think that's a little bit the message today. I know you can do it, but that's not what's important. The important thing is that you think you can do it. And you can do it if you just let yourself do it. I think that's sort of the way you need to go, is release some of these thoughts of, I'm not sure I can. Yeah, I'm not sure I can, you know? And actually try and see. You know, some of the things that we were doing now are just practice methods. It's really just trying to see, you have to sort of test the waters a little bit. I know we talked about that fingering and you opted for the safe one. And now you did that one, it sounds far better, and you got it. So, it doesn't mean you always will, but I still think it's worth doing. In life, it's worth doing. Okay? Great. Bravo. Bravo, gentlemen. Beautiful playing. Just so you know, Joe, there really isn't any issue with balance. And sometimes I feel like in this hall, you can be a little bit more incisive and clear about certain things. And maybe you do that because you feel you need to be concerned. I always hear them. So I think we'll see. Maybe, obviously, you still have to achieve the balance. The basic thing, we already went through the piece, and so we talked about a lot of things. But the thing that actually I notice is just what pertains to what that sounds like in the hall, in this hall. I lose a lot of the notes after you make an impulse. You know what I mean? It sounds like you're dropping them even though I know you don't mean to. You know. And it's a fairly prevalent thing throughout. You'd be surprised. It's the kind of thing that maybe we think since we hear them, they're heard, but that's the old, let's say, I don't know. I don't think it's an acoustic reality, though that's an element of it. But after notes that are stressed, after accents, after forte piano, so we need to think about the next thing. Whereas we often think about that, and then we think a little less about the next thing. Some of that is acoustic, but it's not only acoustic, it's also the intention, you know. Also, one other thing I'd like to say, James, you always, produce a very expressive sound. Please do be careful then when you get into the lower register that it's not always this, there are times when a more focused sound would be appropriate. I know you can, and you're looking for that sort of slightly, husky, burnished sound, but, I think sometimes we just miss the clarity in the sound, Let's go from the beginning. Even there, we talked about the opening. That the third note, the E, should be present enough so we understand the whole figure. It's actually not specifically a rest, is it? It sounds actually like a rest. I mean, those are the kinds of things that can easily happen simply if we don't pay attention, because the listener actually perceives it that way. Whereas in fact, it's a long sustained phrase. So that means just keeping the presence of sound and continuing. I think you probably wouldn't do that if you played it on the G string. I'm not suggesting you do. But if you did play it on the G string, you wouldn't automatically drop the E. Let's start from the beginning again. Okay, great. Now let's put it back on the D string. Yes, I think these accents are important, but I don't think they actually verticalize, I don't know if that's a word, but the line. They're still in movement forward. You know something? I don't mind that G string sound. I don't do it because I have a big Wolff on the F on my cello, but you don't have that, do you? I didn't hear it. Actually, it's not bad. It's not bad. The sound works. But the D string is another version. It's another kind of character. I think both can work, but neither one should, in fact, whether it has a string crossing or a shift, shouldn't break the line, of course. Anyway, now you're thinking about it, so we're good. Let's start at the beginning and go on past where the accents are. let's move back to. Where is that? Yeah. And remember the discussion about your feet? Keeping them on the ground. Feel the heels on the floor.
From there or the beginning?
The beginning is fine. Joe, by the way, if I could just say, I'm not trying to sell you a bill of goods here, but if I didn't hear the difference, I wouldn't pester you about it. But since I do hear the difference, you can count on my pestering you about it. Okay? Please remember that. It makes a big difference. There's just more substance in everything you do. Joe, when you play this, I think the shape is right, but it sounds a little bit, it's not probably intentional, but it sounds like you're throwing away the end. I think there needs to be enough left in it to go on, you know. Let's just do the end of the cello into that ti-da-da-da-da. Yes. And it's the same thing. We talked about that the other day. You're going to the D string. There's going to be a natural perception of a diminuendo, though we don't mean it. Ti-tom. Yes. Yes. Let's do it from when you have that. Okay? You know, I notice that you're kind of stiffening everything in your hand to do that. But if you would actually not do that and get more into the string, not lose the attack, but allow some feeling of cushion and depth in the stroke. Let's see what that sounds like without Joe. Yeah, it's got more body. Okay, let's do that with Joe. No, just a bomb, bomb, bomb. I think at that point in the music, I don't think you should keep stopping to start. You know, it wants to go, you know? Let's do from the T. Yeah, so the other way of saying it is think through the rest. Let's start at the cello A. Da, la, da, da, da. James, I know that you have fire, but you also like to keep control. Can you get a little closer to the edge than that? Cool. In other words, border, it doesn't become hysterical, and it shouldn't be. But this expression is extreme. You know, it is. It's agitated. It's almost furious. You know, I'm not saying it should sound hysterical. I'm not saying that. But I don't think this is a controlled place. All of this tension that has been built up to this point was for this to be the release. And then comes this angelic phrase. Okay? Let's do the same. that once more, but keep your heels on the ground. Yeah, I know, demanding guy, right? Yeah, I think this is more soulful. You know, that's more meaningful. That's from the A, the low A. I'm not sure there's any particular reason to drop the A. It's a long line still, okay? Joe, it's nice. I don't know if it's heavenly, though. Can you play that, reach higher than that? Sound-wise, it's something with the voicing. It sounds dark. I'm not sure it should be dark. And that sounds, don't take it badly, but that sounds very complicated to me. You know, I think this is simple. We're in heaven. Presumably, everything up there is simpler than it's been down here. And each one is an impulse. Yeah, and ta 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 ti 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 ti. I think we should try to play that as simply as possible, you know, and not to look for anything complicated. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like you're playing. I mean, this is just very simple. It could be played that way, and it's nice. I miss that. It's a little predictable in its movement. Somebody told me once long ago, we shouldn't be trying to bring out the things that are obvious, but bring out the things that are less obvious that we don't hear. I thought that was actually a very helpful phrase. What's obvious is da, ta, da, 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 da. Everybody hears that. What else could it be? Do you know what I mean? Let's do from there. Nice. Okay, nice, beautiful, James. Thought. The last note, third finger. 2 fingers down, thumb flying in the air. Are you sure? I know you do it, but the sound gets a little bit unfocused, okay? What if you leave your thumb lightly on the string, in place, don't press it, and don't have your second finger down? Could you just play the last note? You know, we could have a long discussion, and let's not, about the flying thumb. Or as my teacher, Mr. Stark, would say, don't hitchhike. But the fact is, we do lose a certain amount of control over that motion. Now, some people feel, yes, but I gain an expressivity and all that. You have plenty of expressivity in your vibrato, but you actually lost the ability to focus that sound. And for me, what you just did doesn't sound the least bit thin or anything. It just sounds beautiful, okay? So for me, that's preferable, and you really didn't lose anything, okay? Let's go on to the next phrase. Not to lose the last notes, right? This is not simple to play because it can sound like la da 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 da, which we don't want. Maybe you can feature other aspects of the figure. It doesn't always have to be da 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 da, you know, and it doesn't have to be that regular. You know, as we discussed yesterday, I guess, it's the kind of thing that on the piano wouldn't sound that clear. You know what I mean? So I think when we play those things, we shouldn't attempt to play it that clearly, because I think this is a figure that probably somewhere in Grieg's mind could have been in the left hand of the piano, you know? So bring out the harmonic changes, that kind of thing, but not to achieve a regular rhythm. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Also, probably higher than rather low in the bow. You have more mobility of the motion. You can do more with change of pressure and speed. Yeah, but that means you need to keep contact. Yeah, don't you think it's part of the strepitoso? I don't see, he doesn't write ritardando on that. Ah, you don't have a strepitoso. It's in the piano part. So I would think this is part of it, okay? I think we need to sort of wrap things up soon. So let's skip to the coda, okay? I have to admit, just how I took it, I wasn't completely convinced of the tempo in the presto, the very last one. You know, it needs to go, but it also needs to come from where it was. It just seemed like it, da 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 da. You know, so it lost some. The very, very last. Is it prestissimo? Oh, okay. Let's go back to the presto then. In other words, it's a step, and it's a release, but it still relates to what we heard before. It needs power. And not drop the tight over E. I'm not sure that the middle notes. I'm not sure that the middle notes make that much difference, but I think we need the bottom and the top. That gives the pulse. That gives the scope of the chord. We don't need all of that, but can you back up right before the That's good? Something with the last bar, but the slowing down business sounds a bit Brahmsian in its idea, you know? I think there's all this momentum. We talked about that the other day, you know? Let's do this at the end. Ding, dong, dong. Bravo. I realize it's 4 o'clock and you all need to go and we're supposed to wrap up, but I just want to say one thing, because I think certain things need to be said. I guess we're here to do many things, but one thing that we're here for is to honor Miriam Fried, and of course also Paul, obviously, and to celebrate what they've done. And I just want them to know that I've always felt privileged and honored to be their friend and colleague, and that everything that they've brought to the Saints Institute all these years, these special years, will hopefully continue, but in terms of what they've done, will never be forgotten. And I would also like to say that this is not the simplest time that the world is experiencing. And I also feel that's true in our world, the music world, this thing that we love so much, that means so much to us, that needs to be protected. It's always served us. We need to serve it. I think we've done as much as we can, and maybe we'll continue to do more. But then the rest is up to you. And I think that whether it's Miriam or Paul, Gil, Don, Kim, did I say Gil? All of us, we'd like to see it continue. And to all the young musicians here, all of you who might be watching, just please get the message across. We need you, and we count on you. And don't worry, we'll be watching.